Hello, my friends. Today I wanted to go back to my other rant and explain a question that Ventus brought up. He was asking about the Gardner Initiation. I also wanted to talk a little bit about coming out of the broom closet and how other people view witches and occultists. So, I hope you stick around. So the first thing I need to do is, in my last rant, I talked about the Gardner Initiation and I misread the question. I thought the person was asking me about initiation, not Gardner's Initiation. So let me address that. So the comment was by a viewer named Ventus, and the question was, what do you think about Gardner's Initiation? And this is what I think about it. He claims, I think it's in Meaning of Witchcraft, that he was initiated in 1939 into the New Forest Coven, and this is where he first heard the term Wicca. So I take it at his word. I think that he says, or he claims that he was initiated into the New Forest Coven in 1939. I don't know. Maybe he made it up. Maybe he didn't. I really don't know. There's a lot of authors, especially Philip Heselton, who has researched a lot of these people who Gardner claims to have hung out with. He also goes into a little detail about some of the people who may have been in this New Forest Coven. There's a lot of information. The people that he knew talk about different covens, different other characters. So, you know, it would not be surprising if there was an actual group of people who got together at some point, say, the late 1800s or around the 1900s, who formed a group and called it New Forest Coven. It would not be all that surprising because there was already a lot of occultists in that period. There was magical lodges, organizations such as the Rosicrucians, the Golden Dawn, even Druid organizations, and a lot of spiritualism and stuff like that. So it would not be all that surprising to find out that there was actually a group called the New Forest Coven. Now, if this particular group, who called themselves the New Forest Coven, believed that they were a witch line from somewhere, that's a whole nother thing. That's another thing that we would have to explore and then verify those members. And, you know, so it gets to be sort of what you're doing is you're just kind of like verifying one person at a time and going back. And unfortunately, the farther you go back, the less the evidence is available because there's less written information, less photographic material, less people who knew them or wrote about them or whatever, so it becomes more difficult to verify that. So, I believe that Gardnerian witchcraft began 1939, which is the year that Gardner claimed that he was initiated. As for the validity of that initiation itself, I don't know. Like I said, I take it at his word. Maybe we'll find out that it's a lie. Maybe we'll find out it's true. Chances are it's probably somewhere in the middle. Most of the time, it's a half-truth. The next thing that I'd like to talk about is coming out of the broom closet. And there was a lady who posted a very emotional video on Facebook, which I was very inspired to do this on. And basically, she was just talking about her experience coming out of the closet to her family members and how she feels about it and expressing it. And it was really a very good thing for me to watch, because one of the things that I do is I respond to videos of people who have these outrageous, crazy ideas about what witches and pagans and occultists, what we do and who we are and all of this stuff. But it is difficult for a lot of people to come out of the broom closet. And I don't think that people have to come out of the broom closet just to come out of the broom closet. I think that it's like any other thing where you feel like you won't be accepted. If you're queer, homosexual, transgender, transsexual, all these various things that people may not accept, it can be difficult. And you really just kind of have to gauge it upon, maybe there's some people in your family or friend circle that you feel might be more accepting than others. Maybe approach them first. But when it comes down to it, you are who you are, and you can remain true to yourself. Even if you have to keep on a facade to the outside world, you can still remain true to yourself. And if you ever get to a point in your life where you feel that you are, say, secure in your life and in your circle of friends, and maybe even your family, maybe you can come out and just say, you know what, this is me. If you accept me, that's fantastic. If you don't, then, I'll always welcome you back, but there's the door. I accept you for who you are. You can accept me for who I am. And I think that is a very even street. And if nobody accepts that, then it's their loss. Which brings me to the final part of my rant, and that is a lot of the misinformation that is out there and lies that are being perpetuated and demonization of witches, pagans, and occultists. Because there is an alarming growing contingency of people out there who believe that the Illuminati, the Freemasons, Satanists, Luciferians, witches, pagans are all one giant organization that is geared towards overthrowing the world. I find this incredibly funny because anybody who's worked for any kind of an organization knows that most organizations tend, by default, fall to atrophy. You have a handful of people, if you're lucky, in an organization who are basically doing all the work, getting it done. Pagans, witches, Satanists, most of the people who study the occult, in my experience, are very individualistic people, trying to get them to agree to anything in any sphere of politics, belief, concepts, ideas, is impossible. It is like herding a whole bunch of cats to a bathtub. It's just not going to work. It is just not going to work. And a lot of these people who claim, and it's really funny because they will claim that they are up, they're upper parts of the Illuminati, the Freemasons or whatever, and they found their way out, or they were high-level Satanists or whatever. They really don't know anything about it. And if you question them, then they'll get to a certain point where they're, well, I can't say anything about that. And you don't know because you're just too low on the totem pole. So they create this atmosphere that they just are judgmental. They just judge people, and that's it. They really don't have anything credible to back it up, except that's their experience. So, but it becomes this ironic circle because as witches and pagans, we don't feel comfortable coming out of the broom closet because other people won't accept us. And these other people believe that we are some kind of a secret society and we worship all these weird demons and we're doing spells and all this stuff and trying to control humanity. And so that's why we have to remain secret, and we have all these higher levels of echelon between being a witch and becoming a part of the Illuminati and controlling the world. And so they create this false narrative for us. And then we remain secret, and so it enforces their narrative. So it becomes a cyclic, almost self-fulfilling prophecy. It's really quite a funny dynamic when I think about it. So, anyhow, this, again, just a rant. I just wanted to say those of you who are willing to stand up and pronounce to the world or your family or your friends that you are who you are, I think that that's fantastic. For those of you who have to remain in the broom closet or semi-anonymous or however, whatever makes you feel comfortable, that's fine too. There's no pressure to come out. And then to those of you who think that we are some organization or some part of an organization or low-level people of some grand conspiracy to take over the world, if you only knew, you would be laughing. There's no connection. There's no connection. All of us are very individual people. Even when we come into groups and we try to get organized for like a public moot or a public event that we're going to put on, it is a chaotic fiasco, and I'm amazed that any of it ever gets pulled off, to be quite honest. The idea that we are behind some kind of a mastermind conspiracy to take over the world is even funnier. But there's a part of me that wants to support and kind of feed this crazy idea of conspiracy for my own personal ego, to kind of manipulate and use it to my advantage. But then there's this other part of me that says, we need to expose it, give them the truth, let them know that we're just like anybody else. Anyhow, again, thank you so much, and blessed be.
If it's a big-time actor or a small-time actor, it's a sacrifice, okay? And other events will probably likely occur. And this is going on around the world. These witches and these Satanists refuse to acknowledge what they really do. Of course they refuse to acknowledge it. Why do you think so many witches keep showing up on my wall, on that message board, on all of these videos saying, you don't know anything about what we practice. We're outside worshiping trees, and we're doing rituals thanking the winds because we love the wind. Oh, exactly, right. You wouldn't take a vow of silence. I only heard your other buddy, the guy who